Hi there, welcome back. This is Professor Hank, and in this video we're going to take a closer look at the assembly move instruction. The assembly move instruction has a mnemonic of MOV, and it's used to move data around within your program from place to place. So we can use the move instruction to move data from a register into a register. This includes subregisters. Okay, and the second operand, the furthest right operand, is going to be the source of the data that is being moved, and the left operand is going to be the destination. Just a heads up. Okay, so we can move from register to register. We can move from a variable into a register. We can move into a variable from a register. We can move into a register a constant, like 99 for example. We can move into a variable a constant. Okay, so we can do all these things. What we can't do is we can't move directly from a variable into a variable. Okay, so we can't do that, but we can do all the rest of these things. And there's something else that we have to keep in mind too. We have to keep in mind the size of the locations we're moving to, right? The size of destination locations. Okay, I'll give you examples of that here in just a second, but what that basically means is I can't move a 32-bit value into the AL subregister, for example, because the AL subregister only has 8 bits, right? There's not enough room in there for a 32-bit value. Okay, so let me go ahead and just show you some examples of this. Let's start off by moving values into a register. Let's just do that. So let's go ahead and use move, and we'll put a value into EAX, right? And the value I'll put into EAX will be 11223344 in hex. Okay, so let me put a breakpoint on line 27 here and run the debugger. Okay, and I'll add a watch up here so we can see the contents of EAX. Okay, starts off as with a garbage value. I haven't put anything in there just yet, but as soon as I step into the code, I'm going to see that number change into 11223344 hex, right? So we've just moved a constant into a register. Moved a constant into a register. That's one example. Okay, now let's move a register into a register. So let's move into EBX the contents of EAX. Okay, so we'll move contents of EAX into EBX. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the debugger. And let me add the EBX, or watch for EBX. Okay, now before I step into any code here, we can see that I got garbage values in both those locations. Let's go ahead and do a step into, see EAX get updated. Now we'll step again, and we're going to move the contents, or copy the contents of EAX into EBX. And now we can see that both of those registers now contain the same amount, right? Okay, let's create a variable then that is a double word, right? Because EAX is 32 bits, and I want to move the contents of EAX and store it inside of a variable. So we'll call this variable a addword, ADWORD, right? And it's going to be type double word, so it'll be 32 bits. And I'll initialize it with, I'll leave it uninitialized with garbage. Okay, so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to store what's inside. I want to back up, I guess you could say, or I want to move the data from the EAX register into the addword variable. Okay, So move EAX into AdWord. Okay, so let's go ahead and compile and run this. Okay, and I'll add a watch so we can see the contents of the variable. Okay, initially, just initialize to 0, right? I didn't put anything in there, just default value 0. Okay, and so now we'll go ahead and step into code. We see EAX changing. We see EBX changing, just like before. And now I'm going to overwrite the contents of that variable AdWord with the contents of EAX, right? So now all three of these memory locations contain the same value, right? 2 registers in the one variable. Okay, great. Now, what we can't do is we can't try to move a value that's too big into a place that isn't big enough to hold it. So let me give you an example of that, right? So what would happen if I try to take the contents of AdWord and store it into one of the subregisters, right? So when I moved 11223344 into EAX, basically what I had here, and take a look at my nifty drawing here where I'm showing you, reminding you of how these registers work. If we refer to EAX, we're getting all 32 bits here, right? These underlines represent the bit positions. When I refer to EAX, I'm referring to all 32 bits, right? If I refer to AL, I'm only going to get these 8 bits right here. Okay, if I refer to AX, then I get all 16 of these bits right here, right? Similarly with EBX and CX and EDX and whatnot, right? So I can address portions of these registers, right? I don't have to use the whole thing. So let's see what happens if I try to move into just AX, right? Which is the bottom half of the AX register or the EAX register. What happens if I try to copy a 32-bit value into that 16-bit location? Right? Let's go ahead and compile this. Doesn't work. Build errors. Why? Let's take a look at the message here. Instruction operands must be the same size. Right? So AdWord 32 bits, AX 16 bits. Not gonna compile. Not gonna compile. Different sizes. Okay, so let's comment that out. But what if I wanted to put a value just inside of these low 16 bits? How would I do that? Well, I mean, what I would need to do is I would need to use AX as my first operand, right? So let's see what that would look like if I wanted to move a word's worth of data, right? Or I want to move a value into that subregister that was the correct size. So what could I do? I could create a variable here called a word, and it would be type word, and let's put inside of there 7788 hex, right? So now I'll have this word right here, this a word variable. It's a word. AX is a word, right? Its size. So 7788 hex is 16 bits. Well, AX can now store 16 bits. So let's go ahead and add that instruction in here, and we'll see that that works just great. So move AX a word, right? So this will store, what was that value? 7788. 7788 hex is going into A of X. Now the interesting thing about this is you're going to see that 11223344 is already inside all of the EAX register, right? So 1122 is stored in the most significant 16 bits, the high 16 bits. It's going to be stored here. And then the 3344 are already stored in the AX portion of the register. Well, once we move into AX, a word, we're going to overwrite the 3344 with 7788. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the debugger. Okay, and I already have AX set up here, and I've got a words set up in our debugger watch window. So let's go ahead and step through this thing and watch the values change. So move into EAX 11223344. So there's the entire register. Now here's the subregister AX. Got set to 3344 too, right? So this is the bottom half of the whole EAX register. Right, so let's move to the next line. We moved into EBX, EAX again. We moved into add word again. And then the last line executed, line 36, we changed just the bottom half of that register, the AX subregister. Notice that in the AXX, the last 4 digits changed, right? The first 4 digits didn't change, just the last 4, because we changed AX, which is the bottom 16 bits of the register. Okay. All right. So that's how we can change sub registers. Let's do another interesting change here. What if we just want to change, say, this part of the register, right? Well, can we do that? Well, yeah. Well, we'll just use AH. Or what if we want to change this part of the register? Can we do that? Yeah. We just use AL. Right. Now we have to make sure that we are storing a value in that subregister that can fit. Right, so let's put a constant inside of AH. Right, so move into AH. How about 10 hex? Right, so 10 hex, we got 2 digits, and AH has got room for 2 digits. So this should work just fine. So let's go ahead and run the debugger again, and let me add a watch just for AH, and we'll see how the registers change. Right. Now, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start. And when this first instruction executed, move EAX, move into that thing, 11223344, right? EAX changed. AX changed as before, but look at AH, right? AH changed too, right? It's got the 33. Where's that 33 going? It's going into this part of the register, right? So we got our 1 1 here, we got our 1 here, we got a 1 here, we got a 2 here, we got a 2 here, we got our 3 here, we got a 3 here, oops, got a 3 there, and then we got a 4 there, and we got a 4 there, right? So by having this AH watch, we're just saying, hey, show me what's inside this subregister, okay? But anyway, let's keep going. So EBX changes, right, and add word changes again, okay? Now, move AX A word just executed, line 36. Now look at how things changed. AX changed to 7788. Now, what's in AH? 77. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, 77 hex is also lowercase w, right? And the debugger is demonstrating that in case you're wondering where the w is coming from. But that's its value in hex. Okay, so let's run this one more time. Now we're going to change just AH, right? We're gonna execute line 37. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, now you notice AH changed to 10. Let's look at AX, 1088. Look at EAX, 1122, 1088. Right, so I mean, what we see here is that we can put values into individual pieces of the register, and we can change the values that are in those pieces, right? We don't have to change the entire number. It gives you a very, very fine level of control. Okay, so is there anything else that I want to show you here? I think that's everything. We moved a constant into a register. We moved the contents of a register to another register. We moved the contents of a register into a memory location, to a variable. And then I showed you how to use subregisters, right? So the key thing to keep in mind in here is that, you know, those operands have to be the same size, right? You have to have enough room in your destination to accommodate the value that you're trying to store there. Okay, great. Well, thanks for watching. I guess this will bring this video to a close. If you found it useful, please consider hitting that subscribe button and maybe giving it a thumbs up. It really helps out. And as usual, if you're a student of mine, please feel free to stop by my office hours or shoot me an email if you have any questions. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.